So Kim, how did you find tonight? Did you enjoy yourself?
Oh my God, I don't know about you guys, but those stories were so touching, I thought. Authentic, real, which I really enjoyed. The topic of tonight is how I built my business. And one thing that I think a lot of people don't really share are the difficult times, right? The times when you say, I don't know if I've got it in me to go the next few steps. And I just really wanted to hear from both of you, maybe a story.
Currently, so tomorrow actually I'm going on a 24-hour heart monitor because I've had extreme heart palpitations and chest pain, and I think I know what it is, but always better safe than sorry. And that's just I think that for me is a physical, display of what business is and how hard it is. So for me, it never stops. And, what we're dealing with at the moment is, retail is a hard climate, and I've come to start renegotiating our Melbourne store lease. And it's just, I'm looking at all the numbers, and it's just not as profitable as it needs to be, especially if we hit some tough times ahead, which there's a lot of talk, about. And it's a hard, I've internalized it obviously, but it is a hard slog. And I'm someone who's very transparent. You can read me like a book most days. And on Friday last week, I had to ring up and say, after talking to a few mentors, and they were encouraged me, saying I think that we're going to have to shut the shop. And I was instructed to pause. And for me to pause is a really hard thing. And I paused, and it was excruciating, but then I could see that person starting to scramble and be a bit desperate, and normally that would be me, filling in the awkward silence. So you always have to come through, hard decisions, and always have to assess where things are going and where you want to be in the future, and make those hard decisions. And it's physically stressful. But yeah, you just, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So still don't know, 5 days of silence now. And, I'm trying to play hard to get, but it's a bit hard. So that's a recent anecdote of, what it's like to be in business and, the reality. And of course, I'm faced with, the potential of him calling my bluff and shutting the shop, and that being a huge, ego thing for me. But, imagine if I put $150,000 of rent into online and turn that into something else. So yeah, there's always these challenges that could be, a door closing, but with a door closing, there's another one that's opening. So yeah, it's scary, but if you look at it as being, I was freaking out yesterday, and a few people said, everything happens for a reason, and yeah, embrace it.
If we could pass the microphone down to Tobi.
Yeah, so I absolutely have been too far in being an entrepreneur. And so I remember being on a plane 2015. We went to Hawaii for Sim's birthday. We were meeting her parents there. We were in LA. Her parents were in Australia, and we met kind of halfway, although it was not quite halfway. But I remember just sitting there, just literally crying. And I turned to Sim. The kids were between the two of us, and there were 4 seats in the middle of the plane. And I was like, I think I've gone too far. Now, having been that far, nothing touches sides anymore. I've gone to the ultimate extreme. I've gone to the ultimate dark spot as an entrepreneur, that everything's bright in comparison. And I don't recommend it, but yeah, I think you absolutely need to go that far to kind of know the distance or know the breaking point. So I don't know if I answered the question, but it's real.
We can talk about that a bit more, and this is for Hannah. Yeah. Tobi mentioned this concept of going too far, and when Tobi mentions that, I can think of key moments in my journey where I've felt like that, and I've said to myself, what have I done? How about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it's that whole, work-life balance, isn't it? When you love something so much, you can just get so intensely, inspired by it, and you just don't stop. And for me, I'm that person that operates at 150% for weeks on end, and then I'm in bed for 2 days. And then after the 2 days, I'm like, yep, let's get back up to 150%. So I'm in waves of going too far, but it's starting to take a toll. And, I don't want to be in a situation, is just that really, really, black hole. And I think having people around you to actually really worry about you, like when your staff are telling you to go home, that's a bit concerning, and I have that and things like that. So I guess, readjusting your goals and I need to get work-life balance. And, you don't want to sacrifice your family, you don't want to sacrifice your marriage for business, because at the end of the day, what do you live for? Yeah.
How about yourself, Tobi?
Yeah, there's so much in that. I think you need to try and push the limit. I look back on it now, and I'm so, at the time, I was bawling my eyes out. I don't want my kids to see me crying I want them to know I'm human, but I'm so glad that I went there. I'm so glad that I got pushed there. I'm so glad that I kind of tried to work my way out of there. And now I feel really, really sharp on skill, right? Really, don't think I'm clever, but can see around the corner, can kind of, when you're driving down the street, whether you're on the freeway or in your car, you never look at the car in front of you. You're always looking at the car 2 or 3 in front of them, at least I am, to see what could potentially happen. I've got those goggles on when I'm in the driver's seat in the business, right? If I hear an answer, I try and qualify what if that answer or outcome was the complete opposite, where would I be? And if I'm comfortable with that, we continue forward. If not, we kind of pivot around. But at the time, it was horrible. But I'm super glad. It goes back to no different to my dad. I'd never want to leave my kids at a young age, but I can tell you now that fight in me was because I wanted to protect my sisters and my mom, and now my family, my wife and my kids. And I actually wonder whether or not, if my dad was still here, whether or not I would have had it easier or easy, or the way it is. I'm super glad it's the way it is, as much as I'd love him to be here. But yeah, I'm really glad those dark times. It's not a loss. It's a lesson. And so long as you haven't bet the farm, get up and keep going.
Now, Hannah, I know you have to leave very soon for a flight, so this is the last question from me. And this is a question we usually ask all our speakers at the end, but knowing what you know now and the journey that you've been on, if you could go back and tell yourself one thing, what would that be?
Oh, that's a good one. I think it would just be go for it and embrace the fear of failure and learn from every single mistake. That's one thing that I didn't actually enact sooner, and it's something that's really shaped me now. And I think EO has celebrated, failure, because no one wants to talk about it. And that's the thing, it's not until you talk about it that you actually start learning. And that's the biggest thing. So thrive off failure. So, with that burglary, I went into a bit of a hole, and I should have just been like, okay, that was a kick up the bum, let's do this and this, and I got there, but I should have gotten there sooner. So yeah, just go for it. I think that's the biggest thing.
As long as you're not hurting anyone, I'd say exactly the same thing. We're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time, and I'm not the type of person that wants to die wandering. Also don't want to die, but don't be stupid about it. But jump off the cliff. But more to that, or deeper than that, if you have this in you that you're worried about what people may say or people may think, that's a really dangerous place to be. Whereas if you're screw it, I'm going. You know, I don't know. I can't live with. I can't live with the need to qualify what people would think or not think, but I absolutely cannot live with not having a crack. Whether it's the dumbest thing in the world, there's got to be a lesson from it, or it's like the most genius play, period. I live my life like a basketball game because I love basketball, and I love to be down by 20 with the game on the line and the ball in my hands. And I'm not scared to take that shot, and I'll live with the consequence. So, yeah.
Beautiful. All right, we're going to let Hannah go catch a plane flight, and we'll continue with our Q&A. So if everyone can please join me in thanking Hannah for her time.
Sorry. Awesome. Cool. Thank you.
Thanks. See ya. Take care. See you later.
And if we can have yourself and Wayne share the microphone, if that's
sure.
okay. And then we'll hand it back to Wayne for the Q&A.
Okay, so yeah, a lot of key takeouts there, Toby. I think that could have gone for a lot longer, personally. There's so much to draw out of you and the lessons that you've learned on your journey. So what is it that, you know, as the team, working as the team now, so not just you and it's obviously the other members in Creative Cubes, what is it that makes that a well-oiled machine on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah. I think it goes back to leadership, quite honestly. Absolutely thrive with the CEO hat on, but I'm more in awe of the talent that we have in the room, and the ownership that those skilled team members have, that I kind of don't temper or hold them back. I let them go for it. Obviously not wild. I hope I haven't painted a wild picture for you guys tonight. It's really calm, really collected, really strategic, really thought out. There's layers and layers of detail, but at core, it's fuck it. I'm going for it, right? But you know, like you look at people like Sade. She's an incredible talent. She is very skilled and very knowledgeable in her craft. I have no business telling her what to do. Like obviously it's my company, but she's making leaps and strides to propel the business to the next level, that it would be wrong of me as a leader to pull her back, or as an egotistic owner to say, no, this is how we're going to do it. That's an example, and that flows through to, you know, everyone on the team. We have an events team that I have no idea how event businesses run and the curation. There is skilled talent that execute. So I really want to put a sign up on the door that says, like, check your ego here. The reality is we don't have many egos, or very little ego at Creative Cubes anyway. Everyone's just trying to help each other, trying to kind of help everyone win. This is the Creative Cubes business is not the Tobi show. I really want to be the underpin that kind of helps push. And I also want to be led in certain departments and divisions. So knowing which levers to push and pull are critical for business. And I'm learning a lot.
Mm-hmm. And how about, is there any moments that you've had where your ego has maybe taken over and you had to get your ego in check at any point?
I can honestly say at Creative Cubes, absolutely not.
Before that, if we go back.
Yeah. Historically, yeah.
Yeah.
Like we went from like zero to hero literally overnight. We won the New Inventors on ABC. We won the show. We then won Australian Pet Product of the Year. We then won International This and Best Merchandise that, and there's been a lot of accolades. And some of them came really easy, and you know, some of them have been like years and years of curation. But ego is just going to fuck everything up. And so the quicker you can kind of put that at the door, I'm telling you now, you'll be 10x, 100x more successful. So it's not about me. Like I said earlier, I feel like I'm entrepreneur of the people, and it's trying to help you kick your goal that I feel like I'm a byproduct of your success. You happen to be doing it in my building or in the community that I'm curating. Hopefully your success oozes to the next person and they have as much success. But yeah, this is not about me. Stay humble. I used to ride LeBron James on Twitter a little bit. He came from nothing to where he is today and has said some stupid things across the years. Or Travis Kalanick, former Uber CEO, I kept writing them. Remember where you come from, man. And my dad used to say, always prepare for a rainy day, because as quick as it comes, it could instantly be turned off. And if you don't keep yourself in check, someone's going to hip check you, or the market's going to hip check you very quickly, and you're going to fall flat on your face. So.
Cool. Great answer.
I have maybe one more question before we throw it out to the audience. One thing that you said in your talk, Toby, was this idea, you attribute a lot of your success to a strong person behind the curtain.
Sure.
And one of the things I see with a lot of people who, as they build their business, is that they lose that balance or that focus on family as well. I truly believe that no amount of business success will ever make up for a failed family.
Yep.
Maybe can you talk a bit more about the partnership that you have there?
Yeah, so absolutely guilty of getting lost when we were younger, thinking that, I'll just do the providing and you can take care of everything else, and I'll give it 100% on the business front for us to be able to do all these amazing things, and you give it 100% on the other side. And the reality is the relationship that we hold is not 50-50. We might be 50-50 owners in something, but the relationship is 100-100. And if I slip, she's going to check me. And if she slips, I probably won't say much, but it goes deeper than Sim, quite honestly. It goes back to my mum and my sisters. They're the first people to cheer, and they're the first people to give me a good kick in the back when I've done maybe not a dishonorable thing, but not the right thing, or there's something in the way. I just want to make sure that if this is the last day, that I have represented with honor and respect across the board. And there's this little fear, although I'm super healthy and super conscious across the board, there's this little fear that what happened to my dad would potentially happen to me, and I just want to make sure that I don't give anyone, probably like customers, I don't want to give anyone a reason to write a bad review, or I don't want to give anyone a reason to talk badly about the business or their experience, and that's a mandate across the company. But at the same time, I don't want to give my family a reason to go, fuck you, So it's not 50-50, it's 100-100, and it's 100-100 across the board, across every department in life.
It's 100-100.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So I think we'll put it out to the audience now, Kim, don't you think?
I think that'd be a great idea.
Yeah. So guys, we're going to pass the microphone around, so hopefully you've got some questions at the ready. Does anybody want to go first? There we go. Right at the back.
You talk a lot about pushing people over the cliff, and I'm just wondering how you convince people to take the step and get over the fear of, quitting their 9 to 5 and living their dream.
Yeah, so I'm not sure it's me that needs to convince you. I think it's you that needs to convince you, and I need to show you that it'll be okay. even if you do fall flat on your face. And so I can give you a bazillion examples. You can come to Cubes and see people that, great example, we've got the I'm not trying to pitch here, but we have the MYOB pitch night coming up, where MYOB are sponsoring 20 spots at Creative Cubes for people that have an idea, but they can't afford, or they're sort of like stuck in their job and they're not sure. And we had some winners last year when we first opened up, and some of them are raising millions of dollars this year. So it's not me that needs to convince you. You need to look at your current state, and you need to qualify the market. And if you believe, I don't know why you wouldn't jump. That said, I don't do skydiving, and I don't do bungee jumping or roller coasters. But I do business, that's for sure.
Good question. Anybody else out there? Yes, lady at the front. Oh, yep. We'll come to you at the front in a second.
Yeah. What are the 3 qualities that you look in somebody for, putting your weight behind them and, taking them to the next level? Like, what's like your, probably, what do you see in them? What do you really focus on?
Yeah, no, loud and clear. Good question. So for those that may have not heard, what qualities do I look for when looking for someone to join the team? Firstly, I don't do the hiring because I grew up in a world where I tell you I'm going to do something, like you can take that to the bank. Like I'm all in until I've completed the job. Unfortunately, we live in a world where you can tell, maybe not you, but someone can come to my face and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And because I live on, that's bankable. When you don't perform, I hold myself, actually get quite depressed about it. And so I don't do the hiring. That said, I've got an incredible CEO in the pet business in the United States. This guy is a guy that I've known for 10 years now. He used to work at my pet loo business. He was my president of sales. This guy, on a bad day, doesn't recognize how talented he is. I believe in him, and I'm pushing him daily to represent himself. Oh, and while you're there, maybe represent the business. Because I know that he's got a good heart, and he's a good person, and he's hungry, but he has very low self-esteem. And so, for me, while I preface I don't do the hiring, this guy is such a good, salt of the earth kind of person. That's enough for me to make a bet. Now go validate my belief in you. So I hope that answers the question. But it's the same thing with Creative Cubes. If you show up to Creative Cubes with a bag of money, we're under no financial pressure to accept you in if you're a dickhead. Not you, just saying. But if you're a good person and you have no money, but you have a cool idea and you want to make a go of it, then hey, we'll hit up our friends at MYOB. I'm not trying to pitch again, and they'll give me the money for the year to give you a free spot at Creative Cubes, right? And so I think that says enough, right?
So the lady at the front, I think, please, Des.
More people should jump off the cliff and ask questions.
I'm not a lady, but what's your biggest challenge today?
Can you double click on that and kind of?
Sure. So you've talked about a lot pushing people off the cliff,
yep,
and giving them this kick,
yep,
in life. What's your next biggest step?
Wow. It's do as I say, not as I do. Look, I talk a lot about jumping off the cliff, and I probably have said it too much tonight. The reality is, if I'm not prepared to do it myself, I can't ask that of you, right? But I want you to know that if you're going to jump, I've jumped 3 times already, and yeah, it's okay. For me, what's my biggest challenge? I'd like to think I've had most of them, so I know where sort of like the end is. Do you want to help me out here?
I think it's the uncertainty. It's exciting and it's challenging at the same time, right?
100%. It's exhilarating and challenging. There is no guarantee. So I'll share something with you. I'm not earning a lot of money today. I don't have a massive income. In fact, I'm probably like $7,000 to $10,000 a month worse off running Creative Cubes than I am at my family. And I wake up every day going, I can give up now, close the business, which is, by the way, thriving, play it conservative, go get a job, earn the difference, that extra $7,000 to $10,000 or $5,000 to $7,000 that I'm deficit every month, and play it cool and be fucking miserable. Or I can get out of bed at 4:44. Every morning my alarm goes off. Sometimes I beat it by a minute, but my alarm goes off at 4:44 because 4:44 looks better on the clock than 4:45. And it's way cooler to say 4:44 than 5 a.m. But I can get up at that time and I can go fucking balls out and try and dig myself out of this $7,000 to $10,000 deficit every month by exciting people to come to my space and want to be a member. And for the record, we're like 3 offices shy of a full house right now after 7 months. But it doesn't change my financial position. I've got to continue to hustle. The next building is 3 weeks away from being open. I've got to continue to hustle, and I've got to get to sort of like building 3 or 4 before I'm buoyant. So the easiest way is to sort of like, all right, guys, I'll sell my shares. I'm out. Have fun with this. I'm going to go get a job that's going to pay me 15 grand a month, 20 grand a month, and I can support my family. Or I can take the hit, and this is real, being like as transparent as I possibly can without actually taking my clothes off here. I can go and execute and sort of like teach the man to fish, and he'll be satisfied for a lifetime, or give the man a plate of fish and he'll be satisfied for a meal. Like I'm hungry for building 4, 5, 6, 7. And so it's not about financial today. It's about the impact that I can make. Oh, and by the way, I can support my family as well in the future. My wife's going to hate me for saying that, but that's real. That's a real challenge, right? So I hope I answered the question, but I'm not playing for today. I'm playing for 10, 15, 20 years from now. And I'm playing for my kids' financial stability. That's what makes me tick every morning. But the easiest thing is to just go, fuck, I'm out. Go get a job.
I'm curious, most people are asleep at 4:44. What are you actually doing at that time, and how's that helping your work-life balance?
I'm going to plug. If you go to my YouTube channel, I vlog every day, and one of the vlogs that I did was on this. But we're live, so I'll repeat it. I have 2 kids and a beautiful wife and 2 dogs. 4:44, no one's awake. My emails, no kids, no one's awake. And it's crazy hour of the morning, and that's sort of like my opportunity to just kind of check me. So when it's not freezing cold, I make an effort and get out of bed and go to the gym. Because it's freezing cold, I take the time to read. I actually don't turn my phone off airplane mode until 7 a.m. So most of the time I'm in a gym or on a treadmill. I love running. I was up to about 100 Ks a week in running. And honestly, I daydream. So 100 Ks is sort of like nothing. It's shit that just happened. It's almost like when you're driving down the freeway and you're like, fuck, I'm already in St Kilda, but like what happened to Richmond, South Yarra, Paran, and Windsor? Like, how am I still alive? I'm not even concentrating. It's like that on the treadmill. I kind of like fantasize about the vision, and before you know it, there's 15Ks done. And so I'm basically trying to maintain health. I'm trying to live to 150 because that's the number I told my daughter. And so that's just my time. But come 7 a.m. and I turn the thing off airplane mode, the screen's flooded. There's notifications from every single application by the dozen. There's 50 emails and the chaos has started. So just sort of like that 2 hours 15 before the storm is sort of like my time. And sometimes it's just sitting there like reading, and sometimes it's at the gym running, lifting, playing.
Hannah's 24 and Tobi's 38. I'm turning 61 this year, and 4 years ago I had the opportunity to look into a concept, and about a year and a half ago I started building a business case for it, and I got really excited because looking at what's out there instead of like 5 or 10 years ago where you look at what Michael Porter did with the SWOT analysis and so on. So it's just that talking to a lot of mentors, they start off with saying, yeah, sure, we have helped a lot of young entrepreneurs, and I have to keep reminding them that will they give a 61-year-old a chance? And looking at all the startups and founders, they have a graph and they try to encourage you, saying that not everybody starts like Mark Zuckerberg in their teens, and there are a lot of people who start in their 30s and 40s, but there's only one dot at the end that is a founder of IBM, who's founded at the age of 60. So I'm finding it very encouraging that people I have spoken to found my ideas very innovative, cutting edge, but it's hard to get over the hurdle of will someone give a 60-year-old a chance in business?
I would. So, couple of things on that. There's a lot of bullshit out there. A lot of bullshit. I wanted to play on the Lakers, right? I moved to LA because I love the Lakers. I have no chance. There's 12 elite players that play on the Lakers and millions and millions and millions of people that would love to be able to do that. So there's a row of elite. Zuckerberg is the equivalent in my world of being a Laker, right? There's only one spot for him. And there's others, Evan Spiegel. I think the point of it is, like, you got to get past the BS. All these people that say they can help founders and this and that, they'll help you if you've got money. They'll help you if you've got something to put in, some skin. There's very few, if any, that will give you a chance because they genuinely care about your best interest. And I'm talking about not about your family and friends. I'm talking about like real people. But at the same time, I don't think you need permission. Like, who are these people to say I can give you a chance or not give you a chance? You don't need permission. You've got your idea. Hopefully you can validate it somehow. I don't know what it is. I'd be willing to listen and learn and see if I can point you in the right direction. I do have a lot on my plate, so I don't want to overcommit, but I don't think you need permission. There's a scooter company in the US right now. There's two of them. The one's called Bird and one's called Lime. And basically, they're sort of like the bikes, that you kind of put your credit card in, or there's an app and it releases the brake on this thing and you can scoot down the street and it's electric. They didn't go to the council or the government or the city and say, hey, we want to throw 300,000 scooters onto the street. They just put them out there. And the council's like, you guys can't do this. And they're like, we're going to pay $1 million in taxes today. Oh, ask for forgiveness, don't ask for permission. I'm serious. If it's a noteworthy, meritable, honorable, exhilarating opportunity, and you're not breaking the law and you're not going to hurt anyone, fuck what people say.
Yeah, I'm just trying to capitalize underutilized capacity out there.
Yeah.
And that's the model that I'm
Do it. Go for it. Airbnb, Uber, they're capitalizing on underutilized stuff. Just have a go. Honestly, just have a go. The worst thing that can happen is you spend some money and you learn a big lesson. But like at your age, I would say you're a very experienced, knowledgeable person, at least at the world level, and I don't know you. But I'd say that you haven't just stumbled into 60, you've learnt and grown to become 60. So have a crack.
I've got a little thing to add to that actually. Maybe our podcast partners can help us out. Do you remember in the last series when we did some kind of on-the-spot research for the average age of the successful founders? Do you remember that one? Yeah. Can you remember what age that was? Was it 47 or 57?
It was above mid-40s.
Above mid-40s for the most successful founders. So yeah, don't lose faith. All right?
It's knowledge, right?
Yeah, exactly. So any other questions, please, guys?
I have a question actually, Wayne. Tobi, you talk about the legacy your father left for you and the legacy that you wish to leave for your daughters. But what you didn't talk about was the thing that you're most proud of. Through your whole journey, business, life, what are you most proud of?
Are you asking a question? You're trying to trip me up?
Maybe both. Maybe both.
Mate, I honestly feel, for most people in the room, maybe I've hit a couple of home runs. I honestly feel in my heart of hearts that I'm on first base. I don't feel like I'm there yet. I'm very proud of the person that I am. I think I'm a good husband. I think I'm a good father. Maybe a great husband and a great father. Maybe. Vote of confidence would have been nice. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the way in which we deliver. I'm proud of the way in which my team has owned the mission like it's their own. But in the big picture, I feel like I'm on first base. I feel like I still have so much to give, so much to learn, so much to gain. I'm proud of the way in which I've done business. I'm by no means want to be a doormat, but I'll happily be your elevator. So I'm happy to help try and carry you, but don't fucking rub your feet on me. You know what I mean? Like I'm not there to take your shit. Having said that, I have taken it, but I haven't given it. And maybe I should have given it back. But I try to fight fire with water, as angry as I can possibly be. So I'm proud of trying to maintain being a good human being, no matter how dirty and ugly the other side of the fence has been. But I really do feel like I'm on first base. So humble, I'll try to be humble, grounded, focused.
Great answer. Cool. I think we're coming towards the end, guys. So if anybody has a burning question, it's probably best to put your hand up now. There we go.
Hi, my name's Rhiannon. I guess I've got a similar purpose to what you described about helping people jump off the cliff and be successful in the process of doing that. It's just that I guess the perspective that I'm taking is one of how do I give people the tools to be able to do that in an environment where they perhaps, if they're a startup, have $10,000 and they'll spend that on getting a new customer rather than putting these things in place that will actually help them be successful. So as a startup, or how do you kind of give that to people for free so that you can then help them to scale and then be there as a partner later on?
Yeah, so I think that money is a part of the equation. I don't think money is the equation. Again, I don't want to be spruiking, but Creative Cubes is an incredible community. Obviously, that there's a service there. There's space that costs money, but some of these guys it's not a lot of money. right? You can spend $500 a month to be a member at Creative Cubes, and Jodie Oster, who is the managing director of Uber Eats Asia Pac, is grabbing water at the same time you are, and she's running a multi-billion-dollar division. Or you have Kim and his team that are sitting there hustling their asses off every day to have a conversation, being inside that world. You know, I like to position Creative Cubes as surround yourself with people that want to win. And I'm not asking for $1 million from you to come to Creative Cubes. In fact, you don't have to come. But a lot of it's network. A lot of it is sitting around these. I see Wayne and Kim most days. You know, it's being around that energy. It's being around other people in the building that are doing stuff. It's after work drinks in a community that are all elite performers, even if they have less than $1,000 to their business. You know, we're inviting through MYOB 20 people or 20 companies, or it might be 20 individual companies, it might be 5 companies divisible of 20 people. We're inviting those people in to give them a leg up. You don't even have to spend your own money. MYOB will spend the money for you. So I don't think it's cash related or money related. I think that there's hustle and there's hustle, right? And so I started Petloo with a $20,000 loan from my girlfriend's father. Happens to be my father-in-law now. And he's become very successful off the back of, not exclusively, but off the back of Petloo. But $20,000 loan, which was a big number back in 2003, is sort of like, it's a drop in the ocean of what it really should have been or could have been or needed to be. So don't think about money as the barrier, because you've heard from another speaker tonight where she got knocked back by 75 grand from the bank. She's crushed it in retrospect. So leverage your community, leverage your networks. Don't be a bull, but don't accept no. Just accept no as the speed bump to get to the next corner, and just keep going. And if you have it here, like, it'll start to stack up. And if the market responds, again, talk about ego. Like, if I would have executed Petloo the way I thought we were going to execute Petloo at day one, and where it finished 10 years later, I wouldn't have made it out of the year. But if you listen, Sim says it best, listen twice as much as you talk, although I've done a lot of talking tonight. Listen twice as much as you talk, and the stuff that you need to know is in those conversations, and where you need to pivot and how you get around that corner and up that hill, it's there if you take the time to just have those conversations and speak to people, ask them to open doors. I have a chairman at Creative Cubes who is ragingly successful. He'll remain anonymous. Ragingly successful, can open pretty much any door in the country. Won't, because I'm trying to work out which door I need first, right? That doesn't take any dollars, it doesn't take any cents. It's just action, action, action. So don't look at money as the hurdle to starting a business, although you need a little bit of money. But marketplace today, 99 designs, you can have your logo, 25 bucks a month, you can have Gmail with your @company.com email address. Like, it's never been a greater time to start a business and leverage the shit out of the resources. Dropbox, you've got all your files in the cloud. Like, it's cheap. This infrastructure didn't exist 10 years ago. Come to Creative Cubes. It's, $500 a month, and you've got a professional organization, or you've got a professional space for your business. You've got boardrooms, meeting rooms. There's a great company, I don't want to name them, that they've got a small office in our building and ended up winning a multinational business because they held their business and their guest or their client was welcomed into Creative Cubes, and it made them look like this mega company. And they got this like 3 desks just in the back corner, but the customer didn't see that. So just, fake it till you make it sort of style. But just continue to put one foot in front of the other and don't stop.
Cool. That's a good answer. We'll put it out to Jack at the back.
Just one more. You spoke about being proud of your staff buying into your vision. How do you get the people that, or any advice for people that work for you, how do you get them to buy into that vision rather than just see it as a job that they have to do?
I don't know which way to answer that one. For like, there's so many things in there. I'm a high energy person. Like I've got a sore throat because I feel like I'm giving you guys as much as I possibly can tonight after I got to work at 7 a.m. this morning. But I think the reality of where we're at, or the reality of how I roped people in, is I painted the picture and I gave them the tool to say, all right, what part of the picture now do you want to add? Like, I don't know, do you remember Mr. Squiggle? Right? I'll draw the stick figure, you put all the color inside of it, you take the paintbrush off me, or the pencil off me, and continue to shape it your own way. And actually, the reality is, I ended up buying into your look and feel, or your vision, or the way you shaped the painting. I started with the stick figures. And so it's not a job. I don't think anyone in my company, or anyone that has ever worked with me has felt like they've had to clock in, clock out. Because this is as much a part of them as it is part of me. I'm enabling this for them. The sort of policies and procedures that, again, Sade has put in place for the happiness team, which is our in-house concierge. I wouldn't have a clue how to even write the first sentence in those process manuals, right? But she's written, if there's any Jewish people in here, she's written Megillas or Bibles thick of content. She owns it, right? Again, Gavin, who was here earlier, he has his own division and own department, and he owns it. It's not about me, man. It's not about my way or the highway. It's like, hey guys, I've got this really random idea. And by the way, I've gone into our meetings and whiteboarded stuff and seen blank faces, wiped it off, given them the pen. What do you think? And then they paint the amazing picture. And I'm sort of like the engine room behind, giving it a push. So I think it's outlook more so than anything else. I don't think anyone in the organization comes to work. Honestly, I've never worked a day in my life, but I tell you, I worked 16 hours today, right? I love it. And these people in my team, they love it. It's as much as them that you see in the way we represent ourselves. The 80, I'm bullshitting. The 83 5-stars, I'm making out 80, 85, 83 5-star reviews that we have online have got nothing to do with me. Not one. It's all about the team and the way the consumer or the member has interacted with that person that has represented our values and represented themselves. And as a result, we've got a 5-star review, right?
Cool. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Tobi Skovron of Creative Cubes. An absolute pleasure this evening, so thank you very much. So thanks everybody for your questions. That means a lot to us as well, so thanks for your attendance. Hopefully we'll make sure you're back here next week. We have how I grew my business from 0 to 20 million next week. Is that right, Kim? Yeah. So hopefully see you here next week. So guys, can we have another round of applause for Tobi Skovron of Creative Cubes? Thank you, Tobi.